Good afternoon, traders. It's Wednesday, March 25th. Sorry we're a little late. The old Discord server had a outage and nobody could connect a voice. So George was monitoring it. It finally came back up, and I heard his melodious tone in my computer. And we're jumping on to do a daily recap. How you doing, George?
Good. I like that I have a melodious tone. It's good. Good. It was a good day overall. So let's start here with the ES. All right, back this thing up a little bit. So in the broader picture of things, we were on buy side the entire day for the most part. What we were looking at were really it was kind of like the day of the retest. So the conversation was pretty simple in the sense that if it comes back to certain levels and you can use them in the progression of aggressive, nominal, and what we label as has to hold, or you can also view that as like conservative or the most conservative. And the reason I phrased it that way, looking at like this has to hold, for instance, here on the ES, is because if it's going to hold, right, then it is by far and away the furthest point from where the market could potentially get back up to. So that's kind of why I label it the way I do. So ES, let's find it here. So well, I guess I should start back here when I started posting. So I started today around 8:15 a.m. East Coast time. And we had identified that there was a pretty significant decision point in the market right here around 53 quarter, 53 half. So that was something to consider as we were kind of starting into our morning. And then as you can see, just before we got into the room right here at 9:05 a.m. So for those, again, that are on Chartcast, they see these levels. They know what to do with them because of how we train here in the room. And so they know that a retest after the market has, sufficiently gone back above or below, depending upon direction, they know to try to hit that as an entry point. So 9:05 was absolutely perfect to the tick. And we had two major things to get through on the upside if we wanted to progress any further. And so those were up here at the first hurdle at 82, and then the second hurdle up here at 93. As we can see, we never got through the 82. Oh, I apologize. I actually did short that, didn't I? I shorted this. I was just looking back at my trades. Because here, sorry, I should probably go back 2 seconds here. Here's our 920. So this was the conversation in the room, is that here we are at 920. We're already, about 5 points higher than the decision point because it had already gone there. So had you not had it in the pre-market before we started, ideally, and that's just all we can hope for sometimes, is that ideally the market comes back and retests once more so that we can get, quote unquote, the best entry. So it didn't give us that from the point that we started speaking up until the start of the day. So I forgot about this. So it came up, and because it was really the first thing to happen, I waited for this candle personally at 9:40. It wicked above, and then when this candle came back up, I went ahead and personally took it short back to the decision point. And I think, that was the rest of my day, actually. So after that, here we kind of get into the progression of retests. So the market had given really two key levels that were going to be of interest, which was back here at 66.40 and the has to hold down here at 66.25. Ultimately, they did attempt to pull up from the 66.40 with a sizable wick. So today was not for the timid, but if you waited to see how they basically played out, it's kind of the same theory. It wicked it, but then came back up, and no bodies actually closed really below the 66.40. So ultimately we were fine. But then it came back up, and then it was the only one that did go from one of our entry points to an actual target today. As you can see, we just pretty much sideways. After that, we did finally test the has to hold. Same deal. No bodies. Never really did close below the has to hold. But ultimately, we just didn't go to targets anymore. It's just a sideways day. So I was reluctant. I was like, man, this is going to be one of those days we don't actually get to targets, but we got to one, so I'll take it. And then the NQ, very similar story, a little bit more clear with the way that the market kind of laid out the NQ. You can kind of see here we label them aggressive, nominal, and has to hold. And in each case, let's find our 920. So here's our 920. We're in the middle of nothing, right? And this is that kind of piece to the puzzle I feel like a lot of people are missing, is that it's one thing to just to enter the market, but if you don't really know where the potential is and where the levels have to break or hold or certainly break through, it can become a bit tricky, and maybe you just engage incorrectly just because you don't really know where you're at. So here we are at 920. We're doing nothing basically in the room, and it again just rolled up, came right back into our aggressive level, and that was the same conversation. I said, let the market go ahead and push through the aggressive and see if we can close back on top of it. Well, it came all the way to our nominal entry, so that was pretty much perfect. And then it came back up, and here's the push through at 10:05 and the retest at 10:10. So our traders in the room today actually had two absolutely phenomenal setups in the NQ to get in. If they waited and they were patient, like we had mentioned, they were able to get in at the nominal entry. And if they missed it, they're still okay, because as we coach and teach, they caught the retest here at 10:10. And in any case, we all took it up here to the 508 decision point, which if I just drug this thing over, we can all see that the market just said that we're not going to decide on anything significant today. So here we are, drop. It tried to go to the has to hold, obviously came up severely short, but it never really, kind of looking at the bodies here, never really closed below the nominal entry. So same thing, could have waited for this thing to do whatever it wants to do and see where the next candle takes off from. So it was just a retest day. It was up, no commitment, retest, up, no commitment, retest, and so forth and so on. Even if I drug this nominal all the way over, because it's still true and it will still be true through the Globex session, you can see just retest, retest, retest. So that was somewhat straightforward, but boy, you had to put your patient pants on for that one, because you couldn't get committed. And we say it, how many times do we say it in the room? Please don't chase. Please don't chase. The market's going to destroy you if you try to chase these things. Let it come back to you if at all possible. And if it doesn't, then you missed it, and that's okay. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's some unemployment or something in the morning tomorrow. Be watching for that. It's before George comes online, so don't get caught, not paying attention to that. I think it's 8:30. So
yeah, 8:30. I'm probably not going to post anything in Chartcast until after that news, just in case. Unless I'll do it occasionally if there's already something in the works that maybe is about to complete, close to news dropping, then I'll do it. But otherwise, I tend to just it could go so many different directions at news. So
yeah, and lately the news has been kind of non-eventful, so you never know. It could behave.
It's been crazy, right?
Yeah,
because they've been non-eventful at the moment recently, and then an hour later,
right,
making these massive swings, and it's been an interesting market, to say the least.
Okay, well, as always, if you're not in the room, come join us. We've had several people join this week, and George is doing one-on-one sessions with everybody. So that's basically an hour of free coaching from a guy who's been trading full-time for quite a while. So I find it very hard.
2010.
Yeah, you find it very hard to find somebody who's willing to give you a free hour of their time and basically brain dump into you. So come on over. The link's down below, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. Thanks, George.
All right. Yep. Thanks, bud.